Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Suranjali Seal, and like I always say, if you are somebody that loves literature and is all about literature, then this is the channel for you. In our video today, we're going to deal with two figures of speech that seem to be very similar to each other, but they are not. There are considerable differences between the two. So that's why I have picked these two words, circumlocution and euphemism, which are figures of speech that we will look at the definition. We're looking at the definition, we're going to look at the examples, we're going to look at the key characteristics and the differences between the two to understand the concept even better, because sometimes we get confused between circumlocution and euphemism because they have similar usage, but there are very minor but very important differences between the two, and that completely changes their usage altogether. So we're going to clear our vocabulary, we're going to clear our understanding of figures of speech, and we're going to clear our understanding of the two words in detail. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So right at the get-go, let us have a look at the definition of circumlocution. So circumlocution is a literary and rhetorical device characterized by the unnecessary use of more words than needed to express an idea. So you're basically using more words to express an idea, okay? Just remember this. I'll explain it as we move forward. Often resulting in indirect or roundabout speech. So it's almost like beating around the bush. You're beating around the bush. You're not going directly to the point. You're unnecessarily using more words to state your point. So you can say this is the color blue, but instead of saying this is the color blue, you'll say there's so many colors in the color scheme. There can be dark blue, there can be light blue, but you know, sometimes because of your mood, you tend to go with a lighter color or a lighter shade of some of the colors in the color palette. And then, you know, sometimes you feel like choosing blue, and that's exactly what I have done. You see, I'm not even saying directly that I chose the color blue. I'm just like beating around the bush to come to a point. That's exactly what circumlocution actually is. So you are actually unnecessarily using more words than needed to express an idea, often resulting in indirect or roundabout speech. It can be used unintentionally or intentionally for literary effects, such as creating imagery or mystery. So when you know, if you read Rebecca in the first chapter itself, Rebecca, the book, in the first chapter itself, she talks about Manderley, that the driveway that leads to Manderley, and she in detail talks about the vegetation, she talks about nature, and it creates such beautiful sense of mystery. I was completely in love with the novel Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I completely fell in love with the novel from the first chapter itself. The words that she has used to just describe that one driveway leading up to Manderley was so beautiful, and she did not directly say that there was an overgrown she was trying to express the idea that time has passed and this driveway, you know, now they have overgrown trees, okay, this driveway. So she could have just said that, you know, now it has lost its previous charm. I was driving this you know, the way has now overgrown trees, and time has passed. So, you know, it's very unkempt and very not to say dirty, but it is not well cared for. So you have overgrown trees and all growing there. But she uses such beautiful words to describe that driveway, and she talks about how the trees have kind of formed a canopy overhead, and how nature had creeped in everywhere. No, if you read that first chapter, no, you'll immediately be taken into the mystery of Rebecca, the novel. So, you know, you are creating mystery by using imagery, these kind of imagery. So you're not directly saying that this driveway has not been taken care of. You're not directly saying that time has passed. You're using these imageries to create that sense of mystery, and it is beautiful. So this is circumlocution. You are doing it intentionally for effect, or you can also do it unintentionally due to a lack of precise vocabulary. Sometimes when you don't have the right words, you use circumlocution, like instead of directly getting into the point, unintentionally you just, like, you know, use different words to express something because of one's lack of vocabulary. Okay, this is simple. We have to understand its key characteristics, then only we can differentiate it with euphemism. Okay, so when it comes to key characteristics, wordiness, uses more words than are necessary the opposite of conciseness. So you remember this, whenever you get a question where there's concise and then you have circumlocution, it's the opposite. Okay, opposite of concise is circumlocution in literature. That is, concise is like you use brief words, to the point, on the point, and you're just saying what you have to say. For circumlocution, it is opposite. For circumlocution, you use more words than are necessary. So indirectness avoids a direct statement, instead using a roundabout or wordy description. So you're not talking about something that is necessary, right? You're not using necessary words. You're beating about the bush. So of course, it's indirect. You're not saying anything directly. You're just beating around the bush. So it avoids a direct statement, instead using a roundabout or wordy description, unnecessary words. Okay, wordy description. Evasiveness can be used to avoid giving a direct answer. This is where we come close to euphemism. Okay, this part, that in order to avoid giving a direct answer, to obscure the truth, where you don't want to just be truthful and blunt, right? Or to soften bad news. To soften bad news, something that can be really tragically taken by someone. You know, you just don't say anything. I think I can relate to it. If you have watched the K-drama When Life Gives You Tangerines, it's a very beautiful drama. Okay, there was a scene where this woman has lost her child. She cannot find her child anywhere, so the village people are looking for her child. And when the people who have found the body of the child, they have to go and tell the mother that her child has passed away. Okay, then when they go to her and she asks, where's my son, they just take her name. They say Esun, and she says, tell me, where's my son? And they just hold her hand and they say Esun, and she gets the message. So they don't directly tell her anything. They're beating around the bush because they don't have anything to say. There's so much of pain and so much of shock that they are processing, and they know that a mother has lost her child, and they know how it's going to affect her, and they care for her, and they don't know how to tell her the news. So there's just that ... the three dots, where they just can't say anything, too shocked to say anything, too sad, too painful to say anything. That can be considered as circumlocution. You cannot directly say anything. Even you'll see many very cliche example, but there are many series or movies where a boy likes a girl and the boy wants to ask out the girl, but then he doesn't directly say, you want to go out with me. They don't say that. They beat around the bush, okay, to get to the message. That's circumlocution. So whether to soften a bad news, okay, you just indirectly say something. Directly you cannot say something, cannot be blunt. No, you cannot give a direct answer. You cannot tell the truth also, to obscure the truth also, to soften the bad news also, to indirectly approach something. That's when you use circumlocution. And evasiveness means that means you're evading the direct point, you're evading the truth, you're avoiding it, you're going a roundabout way. This is where it is very closely connected to euphemism, but there's still a difference. I'll talk about it. Then you have intentional or unintentional, I told you, and they can be deliberate, rhetorical strategy, or a result of not knowing the precise term. So basically intentional, that is, you do it deliberately. Like I said, for Rebecca, she deliberately elaborates on that driveway. And unintentionally is like you don't have the right words, so you just beat around the bush to get to the point. Okay, that is it. Why writers use it? Why do people use circumlocution? Literary effect, like I said, creates vivid imagery, a specific tone, or adds texture to a narrative. Okay, I'm recommending Rebecca as a novel. You should read it, by Daphne du Maurier. It's a classic and it's absolutely beautifully written. If you want your vocabulary to strengthen, if you want words to sweep you off your feet, please do read Rebecca. So Rebecca also uses this for what? To add texture to the narrative. So that's exactly what this is. Okay, this is just an example. Then vivid imagery may be used to create long, flowery, and descriptive passages that are rich in detail. Okay, exactly. Emphasis or ambiguity. This is another one, emphasis or ambiguity. Why do we use it? For emphasis or ambiguity can be used to emphasize a point or to create an air of danger or mystery. So when you read Rebecca, when she says, I'm going back to Mandalay, and she describes the driveway, you do not actually, she's saying, I remember Mandalay, but what Mandalay actually is, You don't know yet in that first chapter. There's just that mystery that she's talking about Mandalay. What is this place called Mandalay? What is this driveway, this mysterious driveway that leads to this place called Mandalay? Is it a mansion? Is it a place? Is it a person? What is it? What is Mandalay? And as you read through the book, you'll figure out what significance Mandalay actually holds, what it is, who it belongs to, how is the narrator related to Mandalay, what were her experiences. It is absolutely phenomenal. So for emphasis or ambiguity, sometimes you use long words to emphasize that yes, this is an important thing. Sometimes it's also for mystery and ambiguity, where you don't directly want to tell that yes, Mandalay was a mansion and I met this boy there and I fell in love with this boy. No, not like that. She's actually building up to what importance Mandalay actually holds in her life. So that build up, that ambiguity is used. Okay, the circumlocution is used to achieve that. And lastly, you have avoiding offense. Now this is exactly what euphemism is. Okay, this is where I said to avoid offense. Like a euphemism, it can be used to express unpleasant ideas indirectly. So yes, circumlocution is roundabout. Yes, euphemism is roundabout. Yes, circumlocution is indirect. Yes, euphemism is also indirect. Yes, circumlocution, lessens the impact or heightens it. But euphemism is always used when you have a bad news. It's always used when, you want to avoid offense. It's always used when you do not want to be blunt. Circumlocution in anything. It can be used for heightening effect. It can be used for anything under the sun. You can use circumlocution to beat around the bush. But in euphemism, it is particularly when you want to avoid offense. It is only when you do not want to hurt somebody, that's when you use euphemism. This is the difference. I told you a minor difference, but an important one, which changes their usage altogether. So for euphemism, you cannot use it everywhere. Like you cannot use it for this nature description like I told you. She was describing Mandalay's driveway. You cannot use it euphemism there because there's nothing to offend. There's no offense there. There's nothing that you can feel offended by. But for euphemism, when you have to use euphemism, you always use it when there is a chance that the person you're talking to or addressing can get offended. It's an offensive topic or a too direct and blunt thing that you cannot say out loud. Too direct and bluntly, you cannot address that person, tell that person, whatever it is. So euphemism is always when you want to avoid offense. So when you want to avoid offense, this is what you use. Now, examples in literature for circumlocution. Let's just finish this. For examples in literature, remember Voldemort in Harry Potter series? What is he named right from the beginning? What is he called? He who must not be named. That's Voldemort. So you directly don't say Voldemort. Harry is the only one who takes his name directly, but everybody else says he who must not be named. So in the Harry Potter series, this phrase refers to Lord Voldemort creating an atmosphere of foreboding and danger. The person responsible for enforcing the rules, the quillbot, is given as a circumlocution for referee. So instead of referee, you say the quillbot. So I'm saying that indirectly you're saying something. Indirectly you're addressing something. Can be for heightened effect, can be for a roundabout way. It can be anything, key characteristics, where you're creating powerful importance and imagery. That is circumlocution. Euphemism when you want to avoid offense. Euphemism is particularly when you want to avoid offense, and that's exactly what we're going to see in the next slide. So let us have a look at euphemism. So euphemism is a mild or indirect word or expression substituted for one considered to be too harsh or blunt when referring to something unpleasant or embarrassing. If you go back to circumlocution, it is a literary device or a rhetorical device circumcised by unnecessary use of more words. You use more words to describe something, but for euphemism, it's substitute of words. In circumlocution, you use more words for anything, but for euphemism, it's a substitution, like what you have to say, but you just use something else so that it's not so offensive. So euphemism definition: replacing a harsh, taboo or unpleasant word with a softer, more polite and indirect one. Purpose: to make the conversation more comfortable, diplomatic or less offensive. So if you go and watch any diplomat speaking, when the journalists question them, they're very balanced, right? Sensitive issues also, you have to be very careful when you're using words, especially in today's world. So what I'm saying, this is euphemism. You don't want to offend someone, so you substitute words. You don't want to offend someone or anything in life, you substitute words so that you sound more polite, okay? Then you have examples. Let go for fired. You'll say you have been let go. You don't say you have been fired, you say you have been let go. That's a polite way to say it. Or let us have a readjustment of rations. Or you, rather than saying that we are taking your food, you say let us have a readjustment of rations, you know, like let's just readjust it. Like we'll take some of your food, we'll take some of your food, like that. Circumlocution, definition: using an unnecessarily wordy and indirect phrase instead of a direct one. And for euphemism, it's substitution. Okay, substitution. So what is the key difference? The scope. Euphemism is about the choice of milder words. Circumlocution is a more general method of speaking, often employing wordiness, more words than necessary. More words than necessary. So exactly what I'm telling you, this is the difference, very important, but we are actually done with 2 words today from literature, right? Which is going to help us understand the concept even more. So you have the relationship between the two. A euphemism can be a circumlocution if it is a lengthy indirect phrase. Euphemism can be circumlocution, but all circumlocution is not euphemism, because circumlocution can be anything. Euphemism is indirect, right? It's to avoid offense. So an euphemism can be circumlocution if it's in lengthened, more and more you're talking about the thing, you're just indirectly beating about the bush. It can be circumlocution, but circumlocution cannot be euphemism all the time, because circumlocution can be anything. Euphemism is avoiding offense. So however, not all circumlocutions are euphemism. Again, euphemisms, I'm telling you. Circumlocution is indirect wordiness, lengthy words used. Euphemism is avoiding offense. Again, circumlocution is using wordiness, unnecessary words, beating around the bush, roundabout way. And euphemism is substitution of words to avoid offense. Okay, that is it. A euphemism is a milder term used in place of a harsher or blunt word. Circumlocution, on the other hand, is the use of many unnecessary words to say something that could be stated more directly, often to avoid a sensitive topic or create confusion. Euphemisms are a form of circumlocution where a mild term is used to indirectly address an unpleasant subject. So, like many of my other videos, finally, what did we understand? Circumlocution is a broader term. Okay, sorry, circumlocution is a broader term. Euphemism is a type of circumlocution, a specific type. Okay, so this is what circumlocution and euphemism is all about. We're almost done with the important figures of speech. If you have watched my previous video, then you know that I've almost uploaded the important ones that have appeared for exams also. So we are almost done. I'll just complete all the figures of speech first, and then we're going on with our literary discussions, okay, of the ages, and then also grammar portions for SSC and all of the other exams. So we are going to cover both simultaneously, but first I'll finish this. Okay, I'll finish this first. So that is it for today, guys. I hope that you have understood this video, and if this video has been of help to you, then please consider liking my videos, subscribing to my channel, and sharing my videos to friends and family who might find this helpful. And if this has been helpful for you, if you find yourself coming back, then please do support this channel. I also have opened up my memberships, so if you are interested to support this channel, then please do so. I will be really grateful to all of you for all your support. So thank you for everything. I'll see you in my next video. Until we meet again, I really hope that you stay healthy and happy. See you in the next one, guys.